Hello there, friends of Unity, Joy of Life. Before we move into our lesson today, I'd love to share a special invitation with you. I will be leading Christmas meditations each morning starting December the 15th at 8 a.m. Pacific time, so you might want to adjust to your time zone as needed. So Monday the 15th through Friday the 19th, and each meditation will take, maybe 30, maybe even 20 minutes depending, but no longer than a half hour for sure. And the Zoom link you'll find on our website, unityjoyoflife.org. And so we'll begin each day with peace, with prayer, and the spirit of the Christmas season. We thought we would do this the week before it gets really busy, the week before Christmas. So I'm looking forward to sharing this sacred time with you. I hope to see you there. Well, I want to tell you a true story. It happened in the late 1930s, and there was a man by the name of Star Daly. And he was well acquainted with the inner walls of prisons. And one day, something really special happened that would change his life forever. At the time that it happened, he was in solitary confinement. And he just laid there in his tiny little cell. There weren't really any thoughts coming in, but in an instant, he was transformed. No guards were rushed to let him out of his cell. There weren't any loud noises coming from him. In fact, he stayed in this place of such bliss in solitary confinement for many more days. The guards still knew him as quite the troublemaker, but he knew he was different. He didn't receive any kind of burst of intelligence, but he was at peace now. And he knew that he had just released everything that was keeping and holding him back to a power greater than himself. He was changed on the inside, and there was a peace beyond all understanding. So what happened? Well, there was this slight moment. Now, you must know this about Star Daly. He wasn't really religious. He wasn't really spiritual in any way. In fact, some might even have called him an atheist. But there was this slight moment, and there was a crack in his hardened shell of an attitude where he asked the Holy Spirit to help him. And in an instant, he experienced the great moment. The great moment. He knew that his life would never be the same. And then one day the unbelievable happened. The prison gates opened and he walked out, never to return again. He was free to follow a new path and to be of service to many more prisoners, and brought a sense of peace to many prisoners. He had his own prison ministry for many years. What happened to him and what he did after that great moment of transformation is told in a little book that he wrote called Love Can Open Prison Doors. My friends, there comes a time in the life of every individual when they experience this type of great moments. It could last for an instant, or it could last for a week, or it could last for months, or it could last for a lifetime. But one thing is for certain. We have all experienced the great moment, and when we experience it, we will never be the same again. You see, there is something that lives within each of us. Some call it the Holy Spirit, some call it the higher self. But whatever you call this divine self, it is the one that does the forgiveness work. It is the one that clears away all of the dark ways of thinking in your subconscious mind when, and this is a big when you invite it to do that. the higher self, this divine self, this Holy Spirit that is within you will absolutely work in your favor when you ask it. So think of it basically as your inner genie. And when you call upon it, it will bring about the miraculous. And most of all, you will feel a peace that is beyond all understanding. And just like Star Daily, when you are humble enough just to ask, you get it fast. The Holy Spirit can work fast in your favor. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if the whole world experienced the great moment and there was peace on earth? If we all experienced it at the same time, wouldn't that be fantastic? Well, let me tell you another great moment that came to Bill Bacher. He was an advertising executive, and while he was traveling in Ireland, his flight was forced to land due to unexpected fog. So here he is in the airport, all these stranded passengers, frustrated at first, but later they began sharing Coca-Cola, laughing and connecting across different languages and cultures. And Bacher watched this unfold, and he had a great moment. The Holy Spirit gave him an idea. And he thought to himself, what if Coke could symbolically bring the world together? That moment became the emotional foundation of a campaign. It was 1971. What was happening then? Some of you might know. The Vietnam War was still going on, the civil rights struggles, there were riots and upheavals in the streets. There was this deep hunger, especially among young people, for messages of harmony and just peace on earth instead of all the conflict. And so Bill Bacher partnered with a man by the name of Billy Davis. He was a music producer. Roger Cook and Roger Greenway, successful British songwriters. And together they wrote a jingle called I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke. Intentionally blended for global unity, simplicity, a hopeful vision for humanity. Now, just a little side note on this. The commercial was filmed on a hillside near Rome, Italy, and it featured young people of many nations dressed in traditional clothing, singing in harmony and offering each other Coca-Colas. And the visual and the emotional impact was immediate, and it was enormous. Remember, it was 1971, and viewers flooded Coca-Cola with thousands of letters and phone calls, especially asking for the song. Not so much the product, but the song really touched the hearts of Americans and people from all over the world. People weren't just buying soda, they were buying the feeling of global peace. So what happened was, by public demand, there was a group that came together and they changed the lyrics slightly. And it was the group called The Seekers. And the New Seekers, that's what they were called. And so they came out with the hit song, and it says, I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. I'd like to see the world for one, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land.
I'd like to buy the world a home, furnish it with love, grow apple trees, honey bees, and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company. That's the I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a coat and keep it company.
My friends, you never know how the Holy Spirit will work through you in an instant. You too can have that great moment, and everything will change in your favor. So, until next time, I'm keeping the faith for you.